We just talked about Vin Scully and off the air had some fun reflecting on some of our favorite radio personalities that we've listened to over the years. One in particular that will go unnamed used to work at a sports station in town. A lot of people would have a good time kind of imitating him. But what a blessing to have access to the radio and broadcasters of all ilks of life, whether it's sports or the more serious types, talkers. I'm grateful to be in this vehicle. It's been more than 30 years now. It's just crazy to think of. I still remember my first night on the air. And I wasn't planning on sharing this, but what the hey, we'll share a little bit. I took over a late night talk show on a rock station in town and thought, yeah, I'm ready for this. This is what I want to do. I was a non-believer back then. Got a lot of emphasis on this is what I really want to pursue. And I'll tell you, I got on the air and I have never been so terrified in my life. And I took over from a man who hosted a late night program for about a decade. He did news. He's been in radio for decades and decades all over the country. His name is Michael Benner. Boy, people were not thrilled to hear me on the air. Michael was on the previous Sunday through deregulation. His afternoon news position was eliminated. My recollection is they gave him an opportunity to still do the talk show, and he's like, no, I've done it for a while, and stepped away, and they gave it to me, and boy, people were not happy to hear me. For the first year, I was traumatized at call after call. But here I am. It's been 30 years, and I am grateful to host this particular program that I'm blessed to say I've been here for a little more than 3 years. When we think about time and how time does go by, I'll speak for myself. In my non-believing days, I used to think I'm going to get real about my life and God someday, but I'm going to really sow my oats and live for myself and have a great time in the world. And but real poor excuse for acting out, making bad choices, living in sin, rebelling against God, all of that. But in the back of my mind, I used to think there will be a day when I'll be honest about kind of such things. And for whatever reasons I spun in my head, it will be in my elder years. Yesterday, Vin Scully signed off for the last home Dodger game at the age of 88, 67 years in the booth. We found out a short time later we lost Arnold Palmer, who passed away at 87. And that morning, a star pitcher for the Miami Marlins, Jose Fernandez, at 24, died in a boating accident early yesterday morning. And it just reminded me how I did, for so many years, lived in that kind of, I'll get real in the future, versus right here, right now, that this is it. The deeper parts about life, the blessings of life, the things we take for granted, all the struggles. I know I woke up this morning to a particular struggle, and I spent some time just really grinding on it, and then it dawned on me, Frank, in the scheme of life and eternity, this is something that next year or 10 years from now, Lord willing, if you're around for another 10 years, it won't even be an issue. So what I'd like to do now is invite you. We'll have one segment here before we get into some political banter in the 5 o'clock hour about the debate. Oh boy, that's going to be fun. Next segment, I'm inviting you to call the program 888-995-5552 and share a whole array of thoughts from what you are grateful for. Maybe in the center of some storms, you recognize blessing is here. Maybe some things that you're struggling with. Maybe it's that proverbial truth that you realize, gosh, I've not been right with God. And I've been running from God. That's my story. I ran from him for 54 years of my life until the day I stopped running. And I asked myself, what am I running from? Running from the creator of the universe who loves me? It's a little strange.